Alright, what's up YouTube? Today I'm just working on this 93 and a half, I think. 93 F250. This is a IDI turbo diesel. And this actually belongs to my old man. This is his truck. And it has been a workhorse. This is what he's been getting firewood with and hauling stuff around their little ranch up there. And like I mentioned before, it's a 93 4x4 turbo diesel automatic. And we just got it from, he just dropped it off. He's having some problems with a little fuel leak. And I think the glow plugs are going out. It's been running a little rough until it warms up. And then it runs good. So I'm not sure if it's an injector or glow plug or something going out, but I guess we're going to find out. I'm going to do some work under the hood, replace the glow plugs for him, and a glow plug controller. Alright, so here's a look under the hood of my old man's 93 F250 turbo diesel. And so the symptoms I'm getting from him, the things he reported to me is that he says it does have a fuel leak. I can smell fuel right now. And I mean, there's definitely a fuel leak. I can smell it. And he said that not only does it have a fuel leak, but it's not wanting to start, and then when it does start, it runs really rough for a little bit. So this is how he gave it to me. I'm just taking a look. He did drive it here from out of town, so it does run good enough that once he gets it running, it does run well. But there's quite a bit. I mean, you can see there's like wet diesel all down in here. I mean, there's wet diesel all around there. I can see there's a lot of wet diesel down below his water fuel separator there. So there's some diesel in there all around. Like it's just, you can see there's just a lot of diesel. And I see there's that wire right there is off. I think that's the wire that goes on the fuel separator. You can see a lot of diesel kind of around down there in the valley. Like not a lot, but there is some, and there's some back here too. More diesel back in there. I should have recorded after he dropped it off earlier. I let it sit for a few hours and then I started it back up, and it did make it ran pretty rough. Like I didn't even know if it was gonna run. It was idling just really bad, almost like you would like hear maybe an engine running when the distributor's gone bad, or when a couple of the spark plugs are going bad. I mean, it was missing, really, it was knocking, missing, not wanting to run. So I just need to basically start it up and listen to it again, record what it sounds like, and then I have a new glow plug controller and a new set of glow plugs to replace his plug controller and the glow plugs. Maybe try and help him find that diesel leak. Oh, I can see quite a bit of diesel down in there now. A little bit closer. He did say something about when he first starts it that he sees like diesel weeping out from around this area. So something when he first starts it leaks over here. So I'm just gonna go start it now, and then maybe I'll run around here and see if I can see where it's leaking. All right, here we go. This is the 93 F250 test start. We have it set to the rear tank, and yeah, haven't replaced the glow plugs or anything yet. So F250 startup. Got back from O'Reilly. I picked up a Wix 33417 fuel filter to replace the Fram PS 6554A, which is currently leaking. And so the big difference between this frame is if you look at the bottom, this is the part that's leaking. It has kind of this like two-piece, there's a plate that goes in the bottom, and then there's of course the top part that screws in there. So this eliminates that bottom part. There's just a simple drain at the bottom right there. You just pull that out if you want to drain the water out the bottom there. And then of course the top part just screws on like normal. So that little bugger right there was a good $50. I don't remember the exact price, but it was about 50 bucks. And I'm going to be replacing that first thing and see if that helps before we dive in and do the glow plugs, which should be really fun. So I'm just looking at where the glow plugs are. It doesn't look too hard to get down in there, but I may be speaking too soon.
Good. Over here.
Alright, I got the intake off, the air box. So now I'm just looking and seeing, getting kind of a general idea of what I'm up against. And here is, I think, the first one I'm after. So here's a glow plug here, and there's a glow plug right there. I think there's another one right there. And our last one, our last target on this side is right there. So the driver's side, the right side bank, that's not seeming like it's going to be too difficult, assuming that those all actually aren't stuck in there. And I almost fell off the truck. Assuming that those aren't all stuck in there, accessing them actually doesn't look too bad. Anyhow, over here on the passenger side, this looks like the first one on the passenger side here. There's another one right there. You can see access to it right there. And then this is where things are going to get a little bit tricky. Because there is a turbo on this side, on this particular IDI. And I'm going to have to either get the ratchet underneath that. You can see the glow plug peeking out right there. And then there's actually another one even further back right there. So, Alright guys, well that went fairly smoothly, and 4 down, 4 to go. So I got the 4 for the passenger side to do tomorrow, and I got the 4 on the driver's side done tonight. And moral of the story, I was able to do it with just a couple of 1/4-inch extensions and a 10mm long socket. So show you guys. So here's the standard ratchet with a 1/4-inch extension on there. And this is the 10mm long socket that I bought down at O'Reilly specifically to do glow plugs, and then another 1/4-inch extension. So I just put that on there. No swivels yet, not on this side. I haven't had to use any swivels on the driver's side. I might have to use one on the passenger side tomorrow because it looks like it's a little tighter over there. There's the fuel filter in front. There's the glow plug controller. I think that's the glow plug controller. And then of course there's a turbo over there. And so that'll be a little bit more tricky. So I tried to do the easy side first, got those 4 all knocked out. And now I get to test and see if I can get that side done. So anyhow guys, that's all for me tonight. I'm going to go in and get some dinner and go to bed and finish up tomorrow hopefully. Alright, we're out here back at it again. Did this side last night, and now we're going to be doing the left side today. Left side's, I think it's going to be a little bit trickier because got the fuel lines and stuff on this side, the fuel filter, and turbo in the way there. So it should be a little bit more difficult, but we're going to get in there and see what we can do. Last glow plug. Of course, it's always the last one. I got the wire pulled up now for the glow plug that's in the very back on the left there, and I think this might have been the cause of the original issue. You can see that the pigtail there, it's completely broken off, and it was like that when I found it. So I think that might have been the cause of the problem, was that glow plug in the very back there wasn't even making contact, and this is the piece that I found still connected to the head of the glow plug, but not attached to anything. So there is the piece that broke off, and you can see it's one of those round style electrical connectors, kind of a barrel style slip-on connector. So I need to go see if I have anything like that, and if not, I need to run down to the store and go get something, because I want to get this fixed as soon as possible. I'll probably take this little piece right here and one of the old glow plugs with me, or even the new glow plug, and just make sure that it's going to fit tight, whatever I find. So wish me luck, guys. Alright, now to make it easier to get to that rear glow plug, I'm going to go ahead and take the glow plug controller out. Alright, so here's a look at the glow plug controller. It's back there underneath the turbo in this model. I'm going to give you guys as close a shot as I can at it there. So you'll see there's a couple of wires you need to disconnect to remove. Here's a look at the new glow plug controller. And you can see obviously there's one wire there that unplugs. And here's another wire here, a black wire, that needs to be disconnected. And then there's a wire that connects down here. And there's a wire that disconnects here. And then of course there's those wires, and then of course there's two bolts that hold the controller on. So first thing I'm going to do is actually disconnect the battery, and then I'll remove the glow plug controller after I have the battery disconnected. Alright, we're back. So I have both batteries disconnected now. We can disconnect it. So I think this is probably the ground, if I'm not mistaken, the negative side of the battery. Not the ground, but the negative post. And then this would be the positive post up here. And there's a ground wire there. That's that little black wire I showed you guys before. And then there's this little plug right here. Alright guys, just wrapping up on the F250 here, or hopefully. I still have to get the last glow plug, and it's the most difficult one out. And I think I showed you guys already, but the magic tool that's been really helpful is 10mm long socket on a swivel. And this is a 1/4 inch extension swivel, and I have a couple of other 1/4 inch extensions here. One there and a longer one there, and an adapter right there. So with those and a ratchet, I was able to get one of the more difficult ones, which is this one here, second from the rear, down in there. It's the one that one plugs into, and you can kind of see it down through there and there. So that's one of the hard ones. That's almost directly underneath the turbo. And then the other one that I'm still working on, this is the last one. I'm taking real special care not to try and mess it up, it's down in there. You can see it back in there, and you can see it now. You can see it back in there. And one of the problems with it was that the end was completely rotted off. So I went ahead and I got one of these connectors from O'Reilly, and this is the kind that has the heat shrink, comes right with it, and you crimp it on there, and it fit almost perfectly right on the end of the new glow plug. So I brought the glow plug with me and just found the connector down there at O'Reilly, and it seems to work. So that's what I used. I replaced the one that was broken off the end there. And I think that was actually what started all of this, was just that one connector. I don't think it was his relay controller, and I don't think it was any of the glow plugs either. I think it was just purely the wire had broke off of one, so the controller was freaking out, thinking that one of the glow plugs had gone bad, and it was just that the connector had snapped off of there. So now we got that all fixed up. And one thing I have to recommend that you might want to do is take your shop vac and take a piece of PVC pipe. It's about this long here, maybe about, I'd say about a foot or two long, and some black tape and a piece of hydraulic pipe, and just tape that on there. And I used this for reaching down inside all around any place where I was going to take a glow plug out. I didn't want all that junk. There was leaves and sticks and grease and just all kinds of junk down in the hole around the glow plug. So you can use compressed air, you can try and blow it out. Sometimes that'll get it out, but this works really well. You just take this and stick it in the end of your shop vac, and then that end right there, and you stick it down into the engine in the holes where you want to suck. And I used it to clean up all the other stuff I could find back in there, all around in there. It works really well for getting inside of areas where you can't actually fit the end of the shop vac in. So just a little tip there. Let's take the wastegate bolts off. There's the two wastegate bolts, and they're both 13 millimeter. Right, I got our last glow plug in down there, and I got them all plugged back in, double checked to make sure all the wires were connected to all of them, and now I'm just ready to bolt the new relay back on. First I got to put the wastegate back on, so I'm going to go ahead and bolt this wastegate back in place, make sure the tube's all hooked back up. I'd say there's a problem right there. Now, that might have been one of the reasons why it was leaking. Probably wasn't able to make a seal because of that. And of course it wasn't touching the connector there. So there's your problem with that one. And then of course the snapped off wire on the glow plug. Alright, it's not clicking. So far so good. Wait to start light came on and it just turned off. Here we go. That was interesting. Seems to be idling good now. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. I think we got all the air out of the line this time. There we go. Alright, so I just jumpered that wire right there with this green cable. I got the key on right now. First of all, I got the key on, jumpered that wire just down to some bare metal. Now it is flashing. What's up, YouTube? Just working on the truck tonight. Working on my old man's F250. And right now I'm trying to get to this little guy back in here. This is the ABS module for the rear, the RABS activator module, I believe it's called. So I'm trying to take that off. I already replaced the differential sensor in the back there, right above the rear drum, bell drum there, and did not fix it. So now I'm looking at replacing this. Or actually, I should probably double check and make sure that it didn't fix it, because I did clean all the connections first really well, and I checked to make sure that none of these lines were ripped or torn or loose anywhere around here, and they're not. And the error message I'm getting, I'll show you guys it, is it's code 4, which is a stuck ABS switch valve. So basically it's saying this valve right here is stuck. So I'm just pulling this off. I already loosened up, not taking them off, but I've already loosened up the two on the outside, because that's where it mounts to the frame. And now I'm just taking off the brake lines, and you can see there's two of them. I'm going to pull those off and unplug the wire, and take the two studs off, and then run down to O'Reilly and get another one. This is a remanufactured one. You can see it's remanufactured, it says so right there. So this one, you know, it's gone bad already, and just gonna pull it out. They're not cheap. It's like $160 or something like that. So talked to my old man, asked if he wanted ABS or if he just wanted me to bypass it, and he said no, I want ABS. I want it to work the way it's supposed to. So just gonna fix it up for him, get the last of these cables off here. These two studs on the outside, those are 13mm nuts on those studs. And then I got a couple of these crow feet wrench, and I'm gonna try and get this off. This is a 12mm. I'm gonna try this first. And 12mm is too small. Try the 13. 13 fits perfectly. It's not leaking. I actually sprayed, if you see all that around there, it's just that's where I've sprayed PP Blaster to kind of loosen it up. So pull these two brake lines off, finish unplugging that, and get down and get this thing swapped out, see if it fixes the problem. Alright, got the old one out, heading down to O'Reilly's before they close, and go get a new one, and bring my own box, since they always kind of want to keep the box when there's a core. And I chose to buy this from O'Reilly because it's actually cheaper through O'Reilly, because you get the core fee back. Amazon didn't seem to offer a way to get the core fee back, and it seemed to be about that much more. So I got a feeling with the shipping, it's not worth it for them, so they just basically sell it for the price as if they weren't getting the core fee back. So here we go. I'm gonna run down and get a new ABS modulator for my dad's OBS 93 F250. Alright, back from O'Reilly, and I can't show you the old one next to the new one because they took it. They wanted it for the core, but here's my new one. And it looks identical to the old one. At least I hope it's identical to the old one, because it wasn't cheap. It's the same 4-pin connector on there though. And yeah, so we'll see. Here's the number. It's on there. And everything. So yeah, I'll get this baby installed, and then I'll need to bleed the brake lines. So I got 3 bottles of brake fluid. All right, you can see I got my homemade bleeder set up there, some fresh brake fluid in it, and that's connected over to the bleeder line there on the back brake, and I've got that just slightly opened up. Okay, 3 pumps. Keep going. Okay, pump it some more. Keep going. Oh yeah, it's coming through nice and clear now. Look at the color of the stuff that was in there compared to what's coming through now. You can barely even tell there's stuff in there. Keep going. Okay, that's good. So after you finish bleeding all of the brakes one by one at each wheel, you want to make sure that you bleed the actual rear ABS module itself. It has a bleeding port right there at the rear ABS module. And with that, that concludes our Ford 7.3 Idi repair project. So that's the last of the footage that I got for the Ford 7.3 Idi Glow Plug and ABS repair video. I hope some of you found it helpful. Maybe someone out there found it useful. Please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of future Trail Blogger videos.